way as a result of the training, the employee knows more about the job than anybody else in the entire world. As a result of the training, the employee knows how to do the job better than anybody else in the entire world, knows the significance of the job better than anybody else in the entire world. Therefore, he or she can manage himself, herself. We all get to be managers. Basically, self-management is a paradigm shift of elevating the mindset of the employee to think like a manager, act like a manager, to be accountable like a manager. People still say, I don't understand how everybody gets to be a manager. I say, I can give you a better example. 2 years ago in southern Georgia, we had a representation election conducted by the National Labor Relations Board in which employees were going to vote whether they wanted the union or whether they did not want the union. I was counseling management. I informed managers and supervisors, president, the plant manager, the human resources director that only employees are permitted to vote in these elections, and supervisors and managers are not permitted to vote. I guess the plant manager was still dwelling on that evening over dinner when I found out that he was a true southern gentleman by the choice of his drink. Not too many people in Chicago, Los Angeles, not too many people in Manhattan drink Jack Daniel and Coca-Cola. After about 10 of those suckers, he said to me with slurred speech, Gordon, I think I got a pretty good idea. I said, what is your idea? He said, if we promote all our employees into supervision, no one will get to vote. The second change that was brought about in the 1990s is that we have the transformation of the mindset of the supervisor moving away from the era of the punisher to the era of the encourager. Moving away from the era of the boss to the era of the coach. The way we supervise nowadays in comparison to 33 years ago when I first came into this business is markedly different. When an employee sees a supervisor, when an employee sees a manager, when an employee sees an executive approaching, that employee thinks of that manager, supervisor, that employee thinks of that executive in one of two ways. There to encourage or there to punish. See, the revolution of the 1990s occurred more than just in the American workplace. It occurred also in the American home. When a child sees a parent approaching, the child thinks of the parent in one of two ways. There to encourage or there to punish. Coaches encourage, bosses punish. When my 5 grandchildren see me approaching, they think of me in only one way. Because I encourage their little tails all over the place.
Job security. Teachers won't go on job security. There's no difference from the employee standpoint. What private sector employees, what public sector employees want. Now, I'm going to connect this up to you now. Now, I know some of you have got, I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to get it all, but I'll give you my disclaimers. Is that, so it's not from the employee's perspective. What makes public sector bargaining, what makes education bargaining different than it would in the private sector? It's the employer. Go on down to Shields Construction Company. It's got 50 employees. Who do you think makes the decision about stuff? And who's he responsive to? Shields. Board of Education is elected. They have to be responsive to the electorate. They have to be responsive to the taxpayers. It is that side that, in fact, as we will talk about, that I use at the bargaining table when I advise boards at the bargaining table.